glass ceilings and get discouraged to grow because they're hitting these ceilings. So we are trying to remove these ceilings, or at least widen them up, such that they are not binding on anybody's growth. So that is the context from which we are looking at it.
Institutes of Technology will do away with admission criteria of minimum 75% marks in Class 12 this year. Candidates clearing JEE Advanced will be eligible for admission to IITs irrespective of their Class 12 marks. Union HRD Minister Dr. Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank in a tweet said, and I quote, "Due to the partial cancellation of Class 12 exams by several boards, Joint Admission Board has decided to relax the eligibility criterion for JEE Advanced 2020 qualified candidates this time. Qualified candidates who have passed Class 12 exams will now be eligible for admissions irrespective of marks obtained." And that's good news for the country. According to a report released by the United Nations Development Programme and the Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative, over 27 crore Indians have moved out of multi-dimensional poverty between 2005-2006 and 2015-16. The data shows that 65 out of 75 countries studied in this particular exercise significantly reduced their multidimensional poverty levels between 2000 and 2019. According to the report, India has recorded the largest reduction in the number of people living in this category. Of the 65 countries that reduced their multidimensional poverty index or MPI value, 50 also reduced the number of people living in poverty. MPIT is the multidimensional poverty index estimate that is based on harmonized indicator definitions for strict comparability over time. And Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar has expressed happiness over the UNDP report and termed it a big positive development. The INB Minister has also shared a picture showing how India has improved. Now, the office bearers of the Ram Janmabhoomi Tirth Kshetra Trust have geared up preparations for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Ayodhya to lay the foundation stone for the construction of the Ayodhya Ram Temple. Ram Janmabhoomi Tirth Kshetra Trust will hold an important meeting today to finalize preparations for this purpose. This is the Trust's first formal meeting in Ayodhya, wherein all members are likely to decide the date for starting the construction of the temple, which got delayed due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and also the design of the temple. Mahant Nritya Gopal Das will be chairing the meeting, where 12 members will be present. 3 others will be joining in via video conferencing.
ट्रस्ट की बैठक होगी, वो भी इसी स्थान पर होगी और वहाँ का एजेंडा तैयार हुआ है। एजेंडा आज दिखा दिया गया है। 11 तारीख की ट्रस्ट की बैठक में अंतिम निर्णय होगा।
Now, a day after Amethi district resident woman and her daughter attempted self-immolation at the gate of Lok Bhavan at Vidhan Sabha Road in Hazratganj, Lucknow police said today that the women were instigated by Congress leader Anup Patel and Amethi district president of AIMIM Kadir Khan.
7 क्रिमिनल अमेंडमेंट एक्ट के अंतर्गत इन लोगों के खिलाफ मुकदमा कायम किया गया है। इसमें आसमा की गिरफ्तारी कर ली गई है। अमेठी पुलिस और लखनऊ से भेजी गई टीम के द्वारा अमेठी में एमआईएम के डिस्ट्रिक्ट प्रेसिडेंट जो बताए गए हैं कदीर खान, इनकी गिरफ्तारी कर ली गई है एआईएमआईएम के, और इनको लखनऊ लाया जा रहा है। हम इनको फिर पुलिस कस्टडी रिमांड पर मिलेंगे और अधिक जानकारी प्राप्त करेंगे।
And addressing the media, Lucknow Police Commissioner further said that 4 cops, including a sub-inspector posted with Hazratganj Police Station, have been suspended, and the matter is being probed by Additional Superintendent of Police.
एसआई विजय कुमार हैं, हेड कांस्टेबल इंद्रजीत हैं, महिला कांस्टेबल वंदना हैं और महिला कांस्टेबल जशोदा हैं। इन चारों को निलंबित कर दिया गया है डीसीपी सेंट्रल के द्वारा और इस पूरी विवेचना को बहुत क्लोजली मॉनिटर किया जा रहा है। जिसकी मॉनिटरिंग डीसीपी सेंट्रल और ज्वाइंट सीपीएलओ ये दोनों लोग करेंगे और हम इंश्योर करेंगे कि एक एक एविडेंस इसका हम गैदर करें। यह इंश्योर करेंगे कि जितने भी लोग इस तरह के गलत हरकत में, घटिया काम में इनको डिस्क्रेडिट करने के लिए भागीदार हैं, उन सबके खिलाफ कार्रवाई हो।
And let's now get you an update on the COVID-19 situation across the country, where a total of 6.53 lakh people have recovered from the infection. According to the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, a total of 6,53,750 people infected with the coronavirus have recovered across the country so far. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country stands at 3,58,692. And furthermore, in a big development, Union Health and Family Welfare Minister Dr. Harshvardhan has said that the fight against COVID-19 has entered a decisive phase as the human trials of Indian vaccine have begun. He has tweeted saying, and I quote, "Human trials of Indian vaccine begin. The fight against COVID-19 is now in decisive phase. Efforts to develop a corona vaccine for the past many months start giving positive signs. We will soon win the war against this pandemic." And the minister has further shared that the initial trials on humans did not have any side effects. The trial will be in 2 phases and is being carried out at 14 research institutes. The emphasis remains on safety and screening. ICMR scientists are keeping a constant vigil on the matter. And the Health Ministry released on Friday guidelines for gated residential complexes that wish to set up small COVID care facilities in their premises. The guidelines said the COVID care facility will be a dedicated health facility for management of suspect, asymptomatic, pre-symptomatic and very mild cases of COVID-19 among the residents of the particular gated complex and will be set up using the resources of RWAs, residential societies or NGOs. The guidelines, however, said that the facility is not meant for elderly patients, children who are less than 10 years old, pregnant or lactating women, patients with comorbidities who shall be admitted to the appropriate COVID care health facility. The COVID care facility should have a separate entry and exit in these residential societies. The Health Ministry also released advisory for gated residential complexes. The advisory said thermal screening of visitors and staff is to be carried out at entry points and only asymptomatic individuals shall be allowed to enter the premises. And amid the rising number of COVID-19 cases in certain areas, many states have imposed partial lockdowns. In Kerala, a complete shutdown in the coastal areas has begun from today. The development has come soon after Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan admitted that community transmission of coronavirus has started in some of the areas of the state capital, Thiruvananthapuram. The second phase of a lockdown has also begun in Pune, with many medical stores, dairies, hospitals and essential services being allowed in the city. This will go on till the 23rd of July. The Uttarakhand government has also imposed lockdown on Saturday as well as Sunday. A complete lockdown is being observed in 4 districts, including capital Dehradun, during weekends. The other 3 districts are Haridwar, Nainital and Udham Singh Nagar. However, all essential services are exempted from these restrictions. And weekend lockdown is also being observed in the entire state of Uttar Pradesh. Markets and offices are remaining closed over the weekend. However, banks are remaining open for Saturday, which is today. And meanwhile, on day 2 of 3-day lockdown, streets in Goa remained completely deserted. Markets across Goa have been totally shut. Only medical stores and essential grocery stores are open. Milk shops were also found to be open in the morning. According to the Section 144 order, which is related to prohibition of people gathering in a place, non-essential travel is completely banned except for taxis. And in Odisha, in the wake of the rising COVID-19 cases, the state government has imposed complete lockdown in 4 districts from 9 p.m. on Friday till midnight on the 31st of July. The lockdown will be in force in Ganjam, Jajpur, Cuttack and Khordha districts and Rourkela Municipal Corporation in the Sundargarh district. However, essential services will be permitted, while some offices of central and state governments would be allowed to function during the lockdown. And with Bihar seeing a spike in the number of COVID-19 cases, the Union Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has decided to send a multidisciplinary team to the state to assess the situation. The three-member team will coordinate with state health authorities to review the existing situation and provide necessary support and guidance. Bihar is under complete lockdown till the 31st of July due to the rising cases of COVID-19. And as the COVID-19 pandemic still prevails in the country, the Election Commission has sought suggestions from all national and regional political parties regarding campaigning for upcoming elections. In a letter written to the political parties, Election Commission has sought a response till the 31st of July in order to prepare guidelines to curb the spread of the virus during election campaigning. By-polls in some states and Bihar Assembly elections are due this year. Referring to the present COVID-19 situation in the country, the EC said the centre and state governments have already issued guidelines under the Disaster Management Act and several other laws and measures to ensure safety of people from the virus during election campaigning. In other news, BJP National President JP Nadda today interacted with BJP workers in Tripura via video conferencing. Nadda took cognizance of work done by party workers during the period of lockdown. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu virtually inaugurated the concluding ceremony of the birth centenary celebrations of late Jaya Chamaraj Vadiyar, the Maharaj of the erstwhile Mysore state. And on the occasion, the Vice President said it's a great opportunity to remember the great ruler of Mysore. Mysore is famous for its culture, literature, administration and many other things.
It is indeed an opportune moment to remember a remarkable ruler, an ideal king, and an able administrator who built a strong and self-reliant state, one of the most progressive states in pre-independence India. The moment you hear, you read about Mysore, you will become present because of the culture, heritage, traditions, art, literature, administration, whatnot. Mysore is famous for all these qualities.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has condoled the demise of Professor C.S. Seshadri. In a tweet, the PM has said, and I quote, "In the passing away of Professor C.S. Seshadri, we have lost an intellectual stalwart who did outstanding work in mathematics. His efforts, especially in algebraic geometry, will be remembered for generations. Condolences to his family and admirers. Om Shanti." And let's get you an update on the weather, specifically the monsoon as well, because it's causing havoc in some parts of the country. The flood situation in Assam remains grim as over 3,000 villages in 28 districts are still submerged. Over 100 people have lost their lives due to the floods and landslides so far, while around 36 lakh people have been affected across the state. Dhubri, Gwalpara, Barpeta and Morigaon are the worst hit districts with about 4 lakh affected in each of those areas. More than 51,000 inmates have taken shelter at 304 relief camps across the state. About 1,28,000 hectares of cropland still remains inundated. And in a field operation which involves intricate and meticulous planning, Kaziranga National Park authorities successfully released a 2-year-old female tiger in the park, which was captured from the Bandar Dubi area near Kaziranga. Spotting animals on roads or in other residential areas in close proximity to the national park is common during floods, but the situation has become sensitive when it involved a tiger. Kaziranga National Park authorities, on reaching the spot, tried to protect the animal, assuming she might move towards the park again or towards the Karbi Anglong side. The authorities later tranquilized her and took her to a rescue camp. After a thorough health checkup, she was released in the park again. Now, the flood situation in Bihar remains grim as well, with rivers in the state overflowing. Flood waters have spread over various other parts of the state as well. Over 2,88,000 people living in 8 districts are badly affected due to the flooding. According to a report submitted by the State Disaster Management, out of 8 districts, Darbhanga is the worst affected, where over 1,58,000 population of 30 gram panchayats located in 4 subdivisions are affected by the floods. 9,845 people have been evacuated from various flood-affected areas. More than 2,000 people are living in relief camps. The Met Department has predicted light to moderate rainfall in some parts of the state during the next 24 hours. And let's now get you an update on the COVID-19 situation across the world as well, where the coronavirus has claimed the lives of over 6 lakh people worldwide, while more than 1.4 crore people have contracted the infection so far. US and Brazil remain the worst affected in terms of COVID-19 infections and fatalities. The US has so far recorded over 36.47 lakh cases and over 1.39 lakh deaths, while Brazil has crossed the 20 lakh mark and recorded over 20.46 lakh infections and over 77,000 deaths. Looking at the death toll worldwide, the US and Brazil are followed by the UK with over 45,300 fatalities, and this is further followed by Mexico, Italy, France and Spain. Well, what's happening in Chile? Well, in the first trials of COVID-19 vaccines, they are beginning from August, according to the country's health ministry. Health Minister Enrique París has said that the 3 vaccines that will be trialed are from Sinovac Biotech in China, CanSino Biologics in China as well, and AstraZeneca with the University of Oxford in the UK. As the number of coronavirus cases rose to more than 3.2 lakh after about 2,800 new cases confirmed in the last 24 hours, the number of deaths from the pandemic have crossed 8,000 in the country. The Latin American country currently ranks 6th in the world for COVID-19 cases, behind Peru and Russia. And that's all we have at the moment in this edition of the news, but all the latest continues right here on DD News and DD India. Stay tuned.